I will show you how to sculpt this female head in Blender from scratch without confusing with anatomical terms. I won't confuse you with those stuff, bro. You're an artist, you're not a doctor. And I will show you step by step. Also, if you're having this problem where your female sculpts look like she-males and you don't know why, I will help you in this tutorial as well, and I will tell you the pointers that will help you. Yeah, this is a step-by-step tutorial, so don't skip around and watch it till the end and follow along with me. You've been watching tutorials for a while. The reason you're not getting results is because you don't follow along, bro. So this is a literally step-by-step follow along tutorial. Now, before we begin, I want you to realize that the reason that you're struggling with tutorial after tutorial, course after course, and still not learning is because no one helps you tackle the base. And for that, I have my free 1 month head sculpting challenge, which will get you results in as little as 14, 11, 20 days, bro. So this is a complete step-by-step program. I will show you every step. I will give you all of the exercises. I will give you all of the 3D models. And this is as easy as it can get. For the longest time, I was confused myself. And I've been helping many artists who've been struggling with sculpting get results really quick. So to make the best of this tutorial, I would recommend that you go and check out the link in the description and join this free 1 month course. And yeah, within a month, I will teach you. You've already spent months, maybe years trying to learn, but it's still confusing. Give me 1 month, bro, and I promise I will get you results. All right. And with that said, this is our reference. I will link it in the comments or in the description. It's either one, and you can go ahead and download this. I just found this from Pinterest. And the reason that I choose these references, you need to choose your references very carefully. Okay. A common mistake is that when you want to sculpt a female head, the easy way is to, hey, let me just get some really beautiful Asian girl with some good lips. I can get her lips, I can mix her nose, I can mix her side view, and yeah, Ana Diamas, why not? So let me also have Ana Diamas. This is a recipe for disaster. Okay, this is a recipe for disaster because you have so many references and they will contradict, they will confuse you. You are not at a level at this point where you can be mix matching stuff. All right. The best bet is that you find one reference which has multiple angles. So that is why I chose this. Another benefit of choosing references like this is that these references are almost just viewport screenshots. Okay, they are not influenced by lighting, they are not influenced by colors. You can see how dramatic this one is. You can see how this is black and white, this is colored, and these things can really mess up the way that you interpret your reference. Now you can jump to the timestamp of sculpting if you have been watching my videos, if you are a subscriber. But if you're new, we have some rules, and the rule is simple. Don't be a Jerry. All right, a Jerry is someone who skips around. He's watching a tutorial and then he skips to the part, oh, let me see how he made the eye. No, bro, don't skip. Just follow along. I'm making this step by step and I want you to follow with me. So if you have to, first just watch it on 2x speed if you have to. All right, and if not, you want to watch it at normal speed, your choice. But once you watch it, do perform it with me. All right. The reason that you're struggling is because you're watching a tutorial after tutorial, a course after course. You need to realize that a Jerry is someone who thinks he can swim by watching a swimmer. He thinks he doesn't need to get wet. You need to get wet if you want to learn to swim, bro. A Jerry thinks he can be a chef, he can cook if he just watches MasterChef. Like, come on, bro. You have to burn a chicken or two. All right. So don't be a Jerry. Don't skip around and do perform with me. That was the disclaimer, and with that said, let's begin with our course, with our tutorial. I loaded up the reference here on my image editor because it's just so much easier. And let's begin. All right, the first thing that I like to do when I'm sculpting is, first of all, I like to look at my reference. I just observe the reference. Okay, just look at it for a while and just make some observations. So this is a generic face. This is going to follow the generic proportions. I will show all of this to you as we are sculpting. I can see that the chin is super thin. This is very feminine quality. And also in this tutorial, I will give you some tips so that your female sculpt does not look like a she-male. Yes, we don't want it to look like a she-male. A very common issue that happens is when someone makes male sculpt practices and then makes females, they just look like she-males for some reason. All right, and I will help you with those things as well, and I will tell you the things that you should avoid. So the first thing that I notice is narrow chin. Oh, let me just give you some points. So narrow chin, narrow jaw, this is sign of feminine trait. A very big mistake that makes your sculpts look like she-males is that the neck is wide, is as wide as the jaw. That is a masculine quality, bro. Okay, you can see that the jaw ends here. Let me draw it for you. You can see that the jaw ends here. all right, and the neck starts here, so there's a good distance from the neck to the jaw. This is a feminine quality, okay, so we don't want this. Another feminine quality is that the head is not blocky, okay, it's not blocky. Look at my head, look at how slanted my head is. This is a male quality. Female heads are round, their features are round, their features are smooth, okay, but I will also explain them as we sculpt. So let's begin finally. Just using a move brush, let me turn on symmetry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this face down. And like I showed you, the chin is super narrow. Okay, so I'm making a very narrow block out for the chin. The next thing that I like to see is this angle of the jaw. And for that, I will pull this down from here as well. And I will just try to match it the best that I can. It will never be perfect. Okay, so I just have to eyeball what I can see right now. Let me also make the face a bit slimmer, just giving it a bit of a generic face shape. Okay, just a generic face shape, nothing too fancy, almost like a helmet shape. And then you can see, okay, this is good. This is good actually. Let me just pull this a bit down. I'm just eyeballing this. I'm not measuring anything. Okay, now from the side view, you want to look at your reference again. From the side view, what I like to see is this angle, is this depth of the jaw, how far does this go? And usually the generic proportion is that this goes halfway, this length of the face. So I'm just going to pull it halfway like this. Okay, also I'm going to straighten this a bit, just evening some things out. And how high should this be? You want to look at this line. Okay, so in this case, this is okay. And right now, my concern is not with getting something perfect. My concern is just getting something basic, something generic. Okay, we can always add the features later, but keeping in mind the lines and the angles. Good. The second thing from the side view that you want to see is that the ball of the head, it's almost halfway. Okay, it's not as low as the jaw. It's not that low. Let me draw it for you. So this ball of the head, let me draw just a sec. Yeah, this ball of the head, okay, it should be about here, halfway. You can see it here. Okay, it's not till the jaw, it's not like this. So that is something we need to correct. For that, I'll just move the ball of the head up and bring the jaw down once again. Okay, really simple adjustments. From the side view, I just want to correct the shape of the head. Like you can see, female head is very round. Okay, it's not as blocky as the male head. So just getting the best shape that I can without worrying too much about anything else. Okay, so this is good. Now from the top view, I just want to see that this is an egg shape. Perfect. This is wide on the sides, which is nice. Let's look at it from the front view. I have a good shape of the head. Now this is good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to remesh. So Control R to remesh. You just added more geometry. The second thing that we're going to do now is we're going to extrude out the neck. And if you don't want your female to look like a she-male, you want to make this mask a bit narrower than the jaw. So you can see I'm consciously leaving some space. Okay. Now I'm going to invert this. Control I, G to get the grab brush. You can read my brushes here. And I literally explain everything step by step in the 1 month head sculpting course. So please don't be a Jerry and please watch this if you've watched that course. All right. I don't want to waste your time. I'm a YouTuber. I don't mind a view. Give me a view. I don't mind. But I really want what is the best for you. And to make out the best of your time, go ahead, watch that challenge first. Perfect. Let's extrude out the neck. Yeah, this is fine for now. And from the front view, you can see that, okay, this is a bit too thick as well. So let me Alt M, delete the mask, and let me push this in. Okay, because like I told you, I want the neck to be narrower than the jaw. Okay, this is nice. Let's look at it from the front view. And yeah, this is nice. Okay. And now I'm going to remesh once again, because if I try to sculpt on this, I can't. Okay, the geometry is all stretched out. So remesh to just spread out the geometry evenly. Just smooth it very subtly. And this is wrong. Why? Because on the side view, you can see that we have this triangle shape. Let me draw it for you. So from the side, you always want to make sure that you have this triangle shape going down the shape of the jaw. From the third quarter, you can see that we don't have it. What you want to do is you want to use the clay tips brush. And by default, the radius pressure sensitivity is going to be off. So enable it. I don't know why Blender did this, but just enable it. Okay, and let's add some clay with the clay strips brush. Let's fill up this area and smooth it out, and from the side you can now see that we have this triangle shape, which is what we wanted. Perfect. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a bit more geometry because we're going to extrude the nose, the ear. But before that, let me just check the head from the side. You can see that this side is pretty smooth. It doesn't have a ball like this. So I'm just going to smooth out the back of the head as well. Okay. You need to know that reference is king. King. You want to look at your reference and then make a conscious decision on your sculpt. Look, sculpt. Look, sculpt. A mistake that I used to make is I used to sculpt first and then I decided, oh, maybe I should look at the reference, which is stupid, by the way. Okay, you have the answer sheet in front of you. Look at the answer sheet and write down the answers. All of your questions, all of the answers, they are in your reference. So always look at your reference and then make a conscious decision of what you want to do with the sculpt. Perfect. Let's add a bit more geometry so that we can extrude out the ear. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mask from the side of the face, and I feel like the jaw is exceeding halfway. So I'm just going to nudge this in a bit here. That is fine. Okay. I'm going to use the mask brush now. Press M as a shortcut, and then I'm just going to make a bit of a tube like this. Okay, a bit of a marking like this, whatever. And what I like to notice here is from the side, you want to see that the jaw has a bit of height. Okay, you want to see how much of this is. Sometimes it's going to be super close, sometimes it's going to be super high. So you need to take this into account. Over here is just a little. Let's make this just a little as well. Okay, and now we can invert the mask and we need to pull out. Now this right here is not an ear. If you're doing this, bro, this is disaster. You really want to pull the ear out, really pull it out. Okay, and if you cannot adjust the shape, just smooth a bit and then pull it out again. What you want to try to aim for is just a generic ear. Okay, something that looks like a C shape that goes up, curves, goes down, comes back in. Okay, but if you have something like this and it is extruded out enough, that is sufficient. From the front, we just want to see that, okay, it's not an elephant ear. So you're just pushing this in a bit and just trying to get a generic form. Okay, no one cares about the ear, bro. As long as it looks like an ear, no one cares about it. You can't recognize the ear of your own mom, bro. That is how much ears don't matter. So yeah, as long as we have a generic ear, we're gonna be fine. Perfect. And yeah, this looks good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark out the main muscle, the main body parts, the face parts, like the eyes, the nose. We're just going to mark them right now. Okay, so the generic proportion is, but before we do that, let's make the cheekbone. So right here about the middle of the ear, or here we can see it here, it's a bit on the top in this reference. So right here we're gonna use the draw brush to just pull out a bit of a mass like this and dig a bit underneath this and a bit like this, just like this, and then just subtly smooth it out. We just indicated the cheekbone, okay, which is a good landmark. Now from the front view, what I want to do is I want to mark the eyes. Where are the eyes? Let me show you. So the eyes, my friend, they are, if you draw a line from the top of the head to the bottom of the chin, and if you divide this almost in the center, that is where you're going to have the eyes. The second mark that we use is that from the eyebrow ridge down to the chin, almost halfway, we have the bottom of the nose. This is a bit below. Let me draw it here. Bottom of the nose. And from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin, halfway, we have the bottom of the lips. But since this is a female with very plump lips, they are a bit below. No worries. We will follow our reference. Okay. We will forget about the generic proportions. Generic proportions are just a guideline. But when we have a reference, we want to follow the reference. So right in the halfway mark is where we noted the eye. So I'm just going to dig with the draw brush a bit like this, a bit here as well. Okay, make sure that you dig this corner, okay, so that you have a bit of the socket indication and you have a bit of this shape on the side. Perfect. What you want to do now is you want to use the draw brush again to dig here around the nose and then dig behind, down and away. You can dig this area as well. We have this and then just smooth it out. Okay, the reason that we dig here is because you can actually feel this cavity. So if you run your finger here, if you touch yourself, you can see that you have a cavity here. That is why we do this. Perfect. Now that once you make this, what I like to do is I'd like to go to the side view And I like to see, does the face has any dip? Okay, usually in front of the eyes over here, in the center of the eyes, there is a dip. And you can see in this sculpt as well, in this uh, reference as well, that there is a bit of a dip, but it's very, very subtle. So just like the reference, I'm going to make it very subtle as well. Very subtle. Okay. Let's see how wide this is. I can see that this is narrower. So I'm going to push this in as well. Perfect. What I like to block out next is I'm going to use the draw brush and I'm going to mark the nose. So the nose, I told you, from the eyebrow ridge to the bottom of the chin, it's almost halfway. Okay. So let's see, eyebrow ridge, bottom of the chin, almost halfway is this. So I'm going to pull this out. Okay. Mark the nose here and dig below this. Okay. Just gently, just like this. I also want to mark the chin. So right here is going to be the chin. So just pushing this in with the draw brush, pushing it like this, like an inverse U shape. Okay. Inverse U shape, very gently, and then up. Once you do this, just smooth this part in the center. Perfect. All right, let's smooth this as well a bit, just a bit. Perfect. Now we want to go to the side view and we want to see the shape of the nose. Now I can see that the nose from this tip is almost vertical. Then it comes out, quite out like this. Okay. And it has a flat tip. We can see over here, this has a flat tip, but it also has a bit of this angle right here. Okay. And you also want to push the nose inside the face a bit. The reason that I'm pushing the nose inside the face on the edges here is so that I can have this bridge, number one. Okay. And number two, this is a super common mistake. Okay. I see this all the time in beginner artists inside my community. Oh boy, they make this mistake all the time. Everyone does this at least once. So right here, they make the edge of the nose here. They make the nostril here and then they make the mouth. Now this is super bad though. Okay, this is super bad. If you see over here, the nostril is actually halfway inside the nose, the face. So you can see it goes almost halfway in and it is almost halfway out. In this case, it's a bit longer on the outside, but yeah, it's usually it's almost halfway in and halfway out. I also want to pull this out a bit just to make it closer to the reference. And yeah, you can see I'm not making any strict measurements. I'm just eyeballing stuff. And as long as I'm in the ballpark, I'm happy. My goal is never to make 100% of the reference. As long as I have something similar, that is completely fine. Okay. Perfect. Let's just smooth a bit here. We want to push this in. Okay, nice. Let's also make a bulk for the mouth because you want to know that the mouth is a really round shape. Okay, we have teeth, they are round. Okay, they wrap, and the lips, they wrap around the teeth. So you always want to make sure from the bottom view that the mouth has proper curvature. So you have a bit of a bulk for the mouth, you smooth it out, and you want to make sure from the bottom view, you see how round this is. The reason that we make it round, bro, is now when we make the indication for the lips, when we dig in for the lips, okay, just doing it very roughly for you, just to explain it a bit to you. When we make the shape for the lips, it just naturally wraps around this shape very easily. Okay, we've already set it up and it naturally follows the shape. Let's undo this. And yeah, this is like a common approach. So we want to try squeezing out as much detail as we can. And once we think that, okay, bro, I cannot sculpt anymore, we add more detail. And now is the time to add more detail. So now I'm going to add more detail. I'm going to reduce the remesh value. And I'm going to remesh. This looks nice. Maybe a bit more geometry is fine. Okay, nice. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the mouth. So for the mouth, I want to use a creased, not the crease, draw sharp brush. And I want to go to the front view and I want to take a measurement here. So the measurement that I take is from the bottom of the nose down to the chin. I want to see halfway. What is halfway? So halfway, this is the halfway of the bottom lip. Okay, it's almost near the center. Now in females, this really varies. So a very feminine, beautiful woman with very plump lips. Usually the crease of a mouth is the center point of the nose and the chin. Okay. In this case, the center is just a bit above. So let's see, this is about halfway. So we make the center just a bit above this mark. Now I just want to dig this in like this. Okay, just dig this in and I want to smooth a bit. Okay. Take this in again. And now you can use the crease brush in the center, or not the crease sharp. I hate the crease sharp. Just use the crease polish. And with the move brush, I'm just gonna get a generic shape for the mouth. Okay, just trying to match it the best that I can with my reference. I can see this M shape. It is pretty sharp here. And the corner of the lips, they go quite down. So I'm gonna make them go down. And for the bottom lip, I'm just gonna smooth this a bit. I wanna use the clay strips brush and dig a bit over here. Okay, and just smooth it out. Another common mistake for the lips is that they don't have the proper angle. So if you see from the side view, you always want to have this angle with lips. Okay, the upper lip is ahead of the lower lip, especially when they are plump lips like the one in the reference. So I'm just going to push the upper lips out a bit. Okay, just pushing them out a bit from the bottom view. The bottom view is really, really good to check the curvature of the mouth. Okay, and I'm just going to move it out. I'm going to use the draw brush and I'm going to indicate the lower lip a bit here and then smooth it out very gently. Also, you can see this dip below the lower lip. So I'm going to use the draw brush again to dig it here like this and then smooth out these forms. Okay, another thing I want you to notice is that the upper lip, they have very sharp corners. Okay, but the bottom lip is almost flush with the side of the mouth. So that is why in females, we just add this and then we smooth it out quite a lot. Okay, but the upper lip, it has its definition. Perfect. The chin feels like it's protruding too much. It's like a Johnny Bravo cartoony thing. So let's look here. And yeah, this is a very good measurement to make as well while you're still early in the stage. So what I like to do in my references is I just draw a vertical line down. So from the forehead, I make a straight line down and then I check how far or behind things are from this. What do I mean by that? I mean that I want to check how far is the eye from this. The nose is ahead of this. The upper lip is ahead of this. Okay. The lower lip is almost on the line. The chin is behind this line. Now, if I make the same line on my sculpt, okay, I can see that the lip is not ahead of this line. It's almost on the line. The lower lip should be almost on the line and the chin should be behind this line. Okay, so this is how you make these proportion checks. So what I want to do now is I just want to move the lip ahead, the lower lip behind, and the chin behind the lower lip. Okay, so this is a very, very important check that you should make from your reference, especially in females, bro, because making a female sculpt is not hard. Making a beautiful female sculpt, that is a hard task. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure from the bottom view. Also, a very important thing about the jaw area is that you don't want any wobbliness. So you see it's going here and then it wobbles a bit. No, you want the jaw to be very, very straight. Okay, from the chin back to the end of the jaw, it's going to be one continuous straight line from the bottom and from the side. No wobbliness like this, no wobbliness like this. Okay, just make sure that this is one smooth form that carries straight all the way back. Okay, this feels like a bit too of a wide jaw. Okay, this looks nice, but of course we can adjust this later. Okay, we have the block out for the mouth. We have it for the nose. For the nose, I want to make it a bit slimmer. You can see it's a bit slimmer here. I'm just going to adjust the center of the nose a bit. Okay, just to match it a bit with the reference. Let's smooth this area out. And yeah, for the eyes, let's make a rough block out. So the way I like to make a block out for the eyes is I use a draw brush. I want to check the curvature. You know that we have eyeballs, right? I'm sure you do. So the eyeballs are also round. Okay, and we need to make room for them. So let's push in this area. Let's pull this area out, just like we did for the mouth. We can also use the draw brush and dig a bit on this edge, like this, and then smooth this out. So from the bottom, you want to make sure that we have some curvature. What I like to do now is I just like to make some sort of a shape for this fat right here. So you can see that this orbit of the skull, there is going to be fat below this, and then below this is going to be the eye. So I just make a rough mark out for this with the draw brush and then I smooth it out. Okay. This is just a block out for the eye. I don't like how the forehead is looking. Let's look at it from the side view. We can see this angle, but in our case, it's just very round and weird. I'm going to dig a bit here, smooth this out. And from the third quarter, I'm going to compare and make this shape a bit accordingly. Okay. Now females do have temple line, but it's very, very subtle. I'm not going to emphasize too much on it. I'm just going to push this form in so that from the third quarter, I have a similar silhouette. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be similar. And I can see this pointiness here. So let me show you. Oh boy, let me switch to my mouse for this. You can see here this shape, but in my case, it just goes like, it's a weird shape. It's not as protruded. So I'm just going to pull this out a bit from here. Okay. And as soon as I do that, you can see that I have a similar shape to this. Okay. Here I can later make the fat that you can see here. This volume right here. Okay. This is the fat. This is something that we can make later now. I have the silhouette for it. I'm just going to smooth it out very, very subtly. Perfect. The head, the shape of the head, I don't really like it now. So you see how it's like a weird thickness here, whereas you can see over here that the female head, it just has this natural taper. In my case, it feels like it's bulging out then going back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a big move brush and just going to push this in. Okay. So that my face, my sculpt has a taper as well. I'm going to make the chin a bit more narrow. And just never, ever, ever, ever shy away from adjusting your proportions. Art is the process of fixing your mistakes. And whenever you spot them, just fix it, bro. There's no shame in it. Okay. Also, I'm going to use the draw brush to just make these neck muscles. So they are usually, oh, not usually, they are naturally always. They connect behind the ear and down here. But we don't need to remember the name. We don't need to remember any of this. We're not doctors. Okay. So all you need to remember is from behind of the neck down to the neck. You just want to make a form like this with the draw brush. And over here, just dig a bit. Okay. Another thing that could make your sculpt look like a she-male is if you make this too wide and if you make the Adam apple like this. So if you make the Adam apple like this, bro, it's gonna look like a she-male. Like, what are you expecting? Females don't have this emphasized Adam apples. Okay. The neck should be very delicate. Okay. Very feminine. Smooth this out. Nice. Also, I can just very roughly make the traps here. Just very roughly pull this out like this. And let's make the neck slimmer. Okay, just looking at this silhouette, just adjusting accordingly. Okay, the female is all about these subtle things. You would really want to make them feminine. You see how slim this neck is and how thick mine is? I'm just going to make this a bit more slimmer. Maybe adjust the shape of the head a bit as well. Okay, this is looking nice. All right, so far so good. Let's smooth out the ear a bit. This looks a bit weird. Yeah, we are ready to go a bit more higher poly now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go a bit more higher poly. And are the ears? Yeah, they are a bit asymmetrical. So if this happens and one side of your sculpt looks asymmetrical, just go here and press the symmetrize button. I wanted to copy the other side, so I'm going to go here, positive, negative, and symmetrize. Perfect. This looks nice. Let's go higher poly now. Okay, into the detailing stage. So I'm going a bit more higher poly. And yeah, let's start doing the nose. So with the draw sharp brush, I'm gonna just cut this, the nostril shape, this shape right here. And yeah, you'd really want to dig this in. Okay, the reason you really want to dig this in is because take a thumb, okay, and see here, you can actually touch behind your nostril. So we do have a bit of a cavity there. So you want to dig this in and you want to smooth around it. Don't smooth on the line, bro. Just smooth around it. Okay, so that you also have this cavity. You can also use the grab brush to just subtly pull it out. And in the front of the nose, you want to make this cartridge. Okay, this cartridge, which is a bit too overemphasized in this reference, but yeah, we'll follow it, no worries. So with the clay strips, just imagine a ball shape over here. Okay, and then smooth it out. And on the edges right here, you just smooth like this. Okay, or what you can do also is you can use the draw brush, pull a bit here and dig a bit behind this and then smooth it a bit. Okay, this will also indicate this shape. On the bottom, I just want to make the nostrils here. Nostrils are almost like bean shape and have almost an equal rim going around it. Okay, this looks good. I'm just gonna push this in, smooth a bit. And yeah, we also want to have a bit of a rim around the nose. Okay, so you can see this. If I can zoom it in and show it to you, you see the nose is not actually touching the face itself. There's a space in between them. So we also want to have this rim around the nose. Okay, perfect. It's low poly now, but of course when we're high poly we can adjust this again. Right now I'm just indicating these forms. So just make the rim, dig inside. Yeah, here. Also we want to dig a bit over here for this shape of the mouth, above the mouth. Let me look at this from the side view. From the side I can see this indication. Let's cut it here, smooth it out. Is there a division in the center? Sometimes there is a division in the center as well, but in this case I cannot see it, so I'll just skip it. From the side view I want to see the nose. Okay, so the nose has this shape going on. Okay, so I'm just looking at the reference and making conscious decisions in my sculpting process. The nostril is a bit more extended like this. And yeah, this is good enough. I can make this a bit more inflated just to give it a bit more of a rim. Let's look at it from the front. A bit more. Okay. You can use the draw sharp brush to just cut a bit here. Yep. All right. Okay, personally I don't like this shape of the nose, but since it's the reference this way, let's just go with it. I can also see a bit of a width over here in this area. So just following my reference. I can see the nostril is a bit more tighter, so I'm just going to push this down. All right. Okay. Now is the time for the ears. Let's do the ears before I forget to do them and we go to high poly. The ear is a very generic shape, bro. You can see that it's always going to be this 9 shape and then this Y shape on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this 9 shape with the draw brush. Just cut it like this. Okay, this 9 shape. I complete the 9 from the outside. Okay, so I don't complete the 9 like this. I complete it from the outside. Okay, and I really dig this part in, and I make this cavity. So this cavity, I'm making this cavity. Look at the mouse here, here, this cavity. Okay, so this entire cavity, I want to make this. I'm going to smooth a bit here, dig a bit here. Let's dig in a bit here, and the geometry is stretched now, so let's remesh for equal distribution. Let's just dig in here for the ear canal, and then I'm going to move this thing to make the flap of the ear, this flap. And yeah, like I told you, as long as you have a generic ear, it is completely fine. You don't need to make ears exactly like you see in the references. Never. No one cares, bro. Seriously, no one cares. Okay, just making a generic shape for the ear. I think this is a bit too big. Let's look at the reference. So this one is below the eyebrow and almost in line with the nose. So in line with the nose. Yup, below the eyebrow. Okay, we are following the good proportions. Just making a generic ear. Let's take the draw brush again. So the 9 shape I told you, let's make the 9 shape. And for the Y shape, you just want to smooth this form. Let's make it a bit like this. Let's cut a bit behind this. You can also use the draw sharp. Just dig this in a bit more, give it a bit more of a tubular form. Let's use the draw brush to expand this area a bit, the outer tube of the ear. And yeah, right here to make the Y shape, this Y shape, you can see where my mouse is, this Y shape. Let me draw this Y shape. Okay, for this I just draw a dimple on the top with the draw brush, and then I gently smooth it out. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make a generic ear. And this is how you can make every ear ever in every sculpt. A trick that I learned from Speedchart actually, which is not, oh, it is present in this reference, is that you make the ears a bit elfish like by flattening this area. Okay, just to give a bit of a elfish look to them. I don't know why, but elf ears, they are just, people dig them a lot. People go crazy for ears if they are elf ears. So from the front, you make it sort of like elf shape. Where they are a bit pointed like this. And from the side, they just look like regular ears. Let me just smooth this a bit. And let me make the Y shape again. I want to take this a bit here. Just the Y shape here. All right. You see a bit of elfish look to the ears. It looks nice. All right. What are we left with? We're left with the eyes. So I can notice some differences here. Another really good indication that you want to see from the front of the face is this change of the angle of the jaw. Okay, so you can see this change here. And wherever this change happens, you want to draw a straight line inside the sculpt. So right now I can see that we don't really have it. So I'm going to emphasize it a bit. And yeah, it's a bit above actually. So let's move it down. Let's look at the side view. Now it looks fine. Let's move on to the eyes now, which is the most intimidating part of every sculpt that I make. Okay, because eyes are very, very important. What I like to do now is we almost have the blockout for the eyes. You can also just check the eye proportions by using the draw sharp brush like this, just to see if the eye proportion is looking okay, if you want to make the eyes bigger or not. Because let's say if it was something like this, okay, and if I draw the eyelids now, and you say, whoa, no, this is not, I don't want to make this. Okay, the proportion for the eyes is that whenever you make the eyes, they should be almost the same distance apart. So whatever the distance of the eyes, in the center it should be an eye apart as well. So what you want to do is really just imagine a third eye here. Let me draw with the mouse. I don't know why my graphic tablet doesn't work with this application. Okay, so you want to draw a third eye in the center. Okay, this is how you can see if you are following the proportions for the eyes. Okay, or you can also, what you can do is make a third eye here. But yeah, we don't want that, right? Let's move on to the eyes. Let's add a bit more. Let me try if I can see if we have enough geometry for this. I think we can work with this. So what I want to do now is I'll just use the draw sharp brush. Now look in this eye and this shape. Okay, what I like to see in the shape of the eyes is, first of all, I like to see where the outer edge is versus the inner edge. So you can see the outer edge is a bit higher than the inner edge. Okay, so we need to have this angle. The second thing I like to see is where's the highest point. So the highest point is here. And then I like to see how much apart is this in the eye. So I can see this almost on the 1/3 of the inside of the eye. Okay, so this is 2/3 of the total eye. This is 1/3 of the total eye. So these are some things, some rough estimations that you can make in your sculpt from your reference. So I'm going to follow a similar shape. I'm going to use the draw sharp brush and I'm going to make the outer 2/3 a bit longer. And then the inner 1/3 is going to have a steeper angle. I then am going to see the bottom. So the bottom is relatively straight, but I can see that this has a general slope to it. So from the front view, I'm just going to make a subtle shape like this. Join these two like this. Okay. And at the bottom, I can see that we have this line for the eyelid. I'm just going to dig a bit here for the eyelid. And I'm going to smooth around these forms. Okay, not on them, but just a bit around them. Okay, let's zoom out to have a better view. Yeah, this looks fine. It feels like they are a bit too wide apart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mask this area. I'm going to invert this and I'm going to use a big move brush to just bring them a bit closer. Let's go to the front view. Let's bring them a bit closer like this. Good. Okay, this looks fine. Let's smooth out these forms. From the third quarter, I want to see. So we don't have a volume like this. This looks very weird. I'm going to smooth out this form. I'm going to use the draw brush to cut here. Okay, smooth out this form. Cut here, really just cut here, because when you cut here, you see the silhouette of the third quarter, it improves a lot. Let's make the cheekbone once again. You can see this bump is for the cheekbone. Let's make the cheekbone. Let's smooth it out. And yeah, in females, a very important marker is this contour right here. And you don't want to overdo this. If you overdo this, this again looks very masculine. So if you do something like this, okay, this looks very masculine. What you want to do with females is you want to start here in the center of the ear, almost just below the cheekbone. Very subtly make it halfway, just about here, and then smooth it out. Okay, and you will have this contour. You can see it over here as well. Okay, so this is important for females. Also, her mouth feels like, is it open a bit? Yeah, it is slightly open. This is something we can do later as well. Perfect. What we want to do now is we want to take the draw sharp brush and we want to dig this in. Okay, we're making the place for the eyeballs, because having eyeballs just allows us to wrap the eyelids around them very easily. Okay, you can do this with the UV sphere and there's literally no need to eyeball this. Yeah, I love bad jokes. I love lame jokes. If you have a lame joke, leave it in the comment. I would love to hear a lame joke. Example of a lame joke, let me tell you. What's between a grandma's breasts? No answers? Her belly button. Yeah, between a grandma's breast is her belly button, because they sag so much. Yeah, if you want to learn more about how grandma's breasts are, so you can go ahead and check out the link in the description. It will lead you to my paid school. So I have a free school and I have a paid school because I have to pay my bills. And yeah, over here I have a lot more courses: head sculpting, anatomy, female anatomy. This is where I dive into grandma breasts. Just kidding, bro. I mean, we don't literally sculpt grandma breasts, but yeah, we do talk about it because it is important. Okay, we made the eye sockets. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to object mode, press Shift A, and I'm going to make a UV sphere. Let's right click, shade the smooth, go to the front view, and I want to scale this down a bit. And yeah, the eyeballs, they are a bit smaller than the eye itself, just a bit smaller. Let's go to the side view and move it here. Okay, a very important thing that you want to know about the eyes, about the eyelids, is that just like the mouth, like the upper mouth is ahead of the lower mouth, the upper eyelid is ahead of the lower eyelid. Okay, and that is also evident in the reference. Okay, the eyes have this natural angle. We want to have them as well. A mistake that you might make, a very common mistake that I made a lot, is that I place the eyeball in the center. This is wrong. You want to place the eyeball a bit above. Okay, and when you do that, you just naturally get this angle of the eye. Perfect. Now that we have the eyeball, let's just wrap our eyelid shape around it from the bottom view. And if you struggle with this, you can go here. You can lock the X and the Y axis. Oh, no, the X and the Z axis. And now you will only move this in the Y axis. Okay, so this is another trick that you can use as well. Okay, just wrap the eyelid around the eyeball. And just make sure that you have some equal sort of thickness going on. Okay, equal thickness. Let's just smooth this a bit to flatten it out. Just flattening it out. And the inner corner looks a bit awkward, so I'm just going to scale the eye up a bit, just so it takes up more room. Nothing too fancy. Let me turn this off. I want to tighten this side corner of the eye. This is very sharp form. Okay, it shouldn't be curved, so make sure that this is sharp. Okay, let's bring this up. Let's look at the eye of the reference. And yeah, it doesn't dip down like this, so it's almost like a straight form. I told you that the 1/3 is the highest point. So I'm just trying to match the shape of the eye to the best of my ability without being a nerd or a Jerry. Okay, let's push the eyelids up because they're not as low as I made them. Okay, fine. Let's mirror this. Mirror. Let's select the face. Yep, and now is the time to make the fat above the eye. Let's go higher poly. I think we can go a bit more higher. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the clay strips. and I'm going to fill this area with fat. Okay, so wherever there's the orbit of the skull, below it and the upper eyelid is going to be fat, always, unless it's an Asian face, and which is my, by the way, my favorite eyes. I love making Asian eyes. Asian eyes are just beautiful and very interesting. So just bulking up this area. And yeah, I think I can mask this because you see it's not as high as I made it here. I'm just going to mask this area and I'm going to pull this down a bit. Let's Alt M. Let's smoothen these forms in the center. Draw a brush. Let's just define this brow ridge a bit more. And of course, smooth. Let's make this fat a bit more puffy. Yeah, now this looks very nice. Okay, another thing that you can also do, just to tighten it a bit, you can mask this area and you can use the inflate brush. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here. You can just gently inflate this and smooth this. It sort of just very nicely wraps it around the crease. But yeah, this is something you can do if you want. I'll just smooth this out a bit. Just make sure from the third quarter, this doesn't really affect the silhouette of the character too much. Okay, it needs to be round and fatty, but it doesn't need to affect the silhouette like this. Okay, just smooth. Alrighty, let's work on the mouth a bit. Let's open it up a bit. So with the draw sharp brush, I'm just going to dig in like this. Yeah, if your camera acts weird, wherever you sculpt, just press the period button, the numpad period button, and it will focus on that area. So I'm just gonna dig this in, smooth it out, dig it in again, dig, just making a cavity for the mouth. Smooth this. Yeah, with the draw brush, you can make this a bit more plump. Then pull out the upper corner of the lip, smooth around it. For the lower one, I can make this form. Let's smooth it a bit. Yeah, here we can pull it out. We're just following the shape of the reference. Yeah, if the lower lip is plump like this, usually, which I cannot see here, what happens is that this sort of squares off a bit. Okay, a very gentle square like this. The sides are going to be flush, like I told you. Yeah, I'm going to make this shape of the upper lip. I can see that it has this M shape going on. Let's use the draw brush to make this a bit more plump. Let's cut this here. Yeah, you can also use the inflate brush. Just tighten up this area on the side. Or you can use the crease brush as well. Let's also crease a bit like this. So up and to the side. I'm just making this dimple right here because I can see it here. This looks a bit weird actually. I'm just going to make the face a bit slimmer. Also from the top. Yeah, let's look at the eyes. So the eyes are, where are this? The way you can check the width of the lips, you just draw a line straight up. So you can see it's a bit further off the center of the mouth. It's a bit further over here as well. Let's check from the bottom. Let's just make it a bit less wider. Oh, yeah, this looks fine now. Alrighty. Okay, a tip for females, right? A very important tip that I can share with you is whenever you about this stage, just use the mask brush. I learned this from speech art again. So what you want to do is just use the mask brush and give your female a bit of a makeup. Okay, just give her a bit of a makeup. Make her the lipstick. Okay, give her a bit of a liner. You can also give her a bit of a blush on. Smooth it out. And you have very importantly make the eyebrows. Okay, the eyebrows are very important. Now once you do this, you will have a better idea of how your female is looking. Now is a good time to ask yourself, will you marry her? Okay, be very honest. If you've made a female sculpt and if your answer is that you will marry her, then it is a good sculpt. Okay, let's clear the mask and you can see the difference that makeup actually makes, which is a lot. Yeah, I think we can just stop here. I'm just going to smooth this form. Just going to make this straight. I told you no wobbliness in the jaw. And yeah, I'm quite happy with the result. Although it's not 100%, that is completely fine. Let's use a clay strips brush and you can bulk up this area a bit. Okay, because looking from the bottom view, yeah, we can make this a bit more plump, a bit more full, because females generally have fat accumulation in this area. It's very round, very plump, and also most importantly very smooth. Okay, so just bulking this up and smoothing it out very subtly. Okay, never have lines over here. So never ever have lines like this. Okay, because if you do, your female will just suddenly look 20 years older. This is going to be very smooth. So just smoothing out these forms. And yes, there you have it. With that, we have our female sculpt. Let's turn on shadows. I'm going to adjust the shape of the head just a bit. Okay, just give it a bit more of a taper. Whitish areas here. Let's push the ears just in a bit. And a bit out on the cheek. All right. Oh, I push the eyes in. Okay, perfect. And there we have it. Let me turn on shadows. Let me know in the comments, how did you like this tutorial? Do you like this format where I explain everything step by step? Okay. One thing that you can do to the lips as well, I just remembered, looking at the reference, is let's make it like this. And yeah, this is just an optional step. So for the lips, you can use the draw sharp brush. Just cut it a bit like this. Cut it a bit in the center. Okay. Very generically smooth it out. And use the draw brush to emphasize this as well. Yeah, this just gives your lips a better dimension. Just makes them a bit more attractive. And remember, they're very smooth on the side. So, yep, that is it. I won't be working on this anymore. No, bro, I just sometimes become such a perfectionist. Shit. Let's use the crease brush. Oh boy. Why can't I just stay in peace? Not curving like this so much. Feel like I had a good shape and then I just ruined it. But whatever. This is fine. Just smoothing this area. Now, if I just enable shadows, this will disappear. That is the cavity for the mouth. Feel like it was good before, so let me just undo, bro. Sorry about that. Okay, let me just dig in a bit here. Yep. Anyways, that is how you make a female head. Should I remesh this once? Nope. I should make it higher poly. Let me just dig this inside to make the cavity. Yeah, let's use the infinite brush. Just tighten this. Ah, bro, I mean, this is just the cavity for the mouth. I'm just fixating on this for no reason. This is absolutely fine. All right, that is it for the tutorial. I will see you around. And if you want to dive a bit more deeper into the female anatomy, go check out the link in the description, and I will see you inside. We also have weekly calls every week where you can share your work. I will give you personal feedback, and we also have a weekly sculpting together workshop where we all sculpt the same reference. And yeah, this is one of these examples. So we made this in our last workshop. Here are the result of the members, and that's a good place to be if you're interested in sculpting and you want a serious community of artists. I will personally help you with any issue that you have. So just make a post, I will comment, I share feedback, I make drawings. And if you want one-to-one feedback, personal feedback, you can just get on a call every week that we have on Saturday, and I will help you personally. Goodbye, take care. Here's the fist bump.